Welcome to the last video of the series about my book Philosophical Cocaine, A Radical Approach to Liberation. This is Álvaro Quevedo, philosopher, magician, world traveler with over 20 years living the nomadic lifestyle. This video is the last chapter, which is called The Objective Measure of Your Freedom. We already covering through the other 5 videos about social conditioning, negative social conditioning, the division inside your mind between the anybody self and your unique self, the constant struggle in your daily life about these two mental polarities, two mental personalities within you. I already did an analogy with the movie Fight Club, because in that movie is very well expressed how this tension is constantly there, shaping the way you see the world, shaping the way you see yourself, shaping the way you see reality in general. So we already covered from video 1 to video 5 how your mind is always trapped into this invisible prison, which is the anybody self within you, that falls constantly in social conformity, looking for external validation, is weak, unconfident, is not a strong self. But you also have trapped inside yourself this unique person, this unique, irrepeatable person that is strong and is free. And I use the analogy with Tyler Durden in Fight Club because you can visualize how that person would look like. You also felt that person sometimes through your life, some social situations, some experiences that make you feel very powerful, very free. But most of the times you're just stifled, and that person, that unique person, is suffocated by this conformity, mass character that is completely weak and is always trying to look for external validation and fall into social conformity. So, in the last video, I explained you the 10 mental habits of your unique self. If you were your unique self, you will have these 10 mental habits. I already explained you, not in detail, but at least a good brush about what is to be that unique self. So this last chapter is about how you're going to be measuring if you are living that life, if you are actually living through your unique self and not falling into your anybody self, living through your strong Tyler Durden self, not your conformist, weak part of your brain. Okay? So I divide these 3 objective measures of your freedom in 3 independences: economical independence, okay, psychological independence, and emotional independence. Obviously, the word independence is a contrast with the word dependence. So basically, when I'm saying you're economically independent or emotionally independent, I'm saying that you are not economically dependent or emotionally dependent. That's pretty obvious. But I will have to explain step by step and in more detail what it means to have economical independence, psychological independence, and emotional independence. This is our grades, like dialectical grades. So you go from easier to hard. So from the easiest one, which is economical independence, to the hardest one, which is the emotional independence. So let's go. Okay, first of all, economical independence. This one is the easiest one to get, but it's still something you have to get to acquire a certain sense of freedom, all right? It doesn't mean that you have to be a millionaire to be financially independent, but you have to get a certain independence from other people. Because at the beginning of your life, I explained this in the book, you were thrown into the world naked, with no connection, no knowledge, nothing, no money, of course. So who is paying for everything you do, everything you want? Whoever's taking care of you, your parents, your grandparents, or whoever. So basically, at the beginning of your life, you're in a state of dependency, economical dependency. You have no money, you have no job, somebody else is paying. But as you get some knowledge and you understand how the world works, you eventually can get a job and you can provide some value to the market and get some money in exchange. As soon as you do that and you're just living on your own terms, making your own money, not depending on someone else to give you money, okay, for exchange of nothing, basically you are just economically independent, all right? So that's the easiest way because you can get it like flipping burgers in McDonald's. You're already economically independent. You are not asking for anybody else to give you money as when you were a kid. When you were a kid, you asked for your parents to give you money or whoever's taking care of you. So when you're economic independent, you don't ask anybody to give you money. But I want to give a subtlety here, because there is certain professions or there are certain endeavors in the world nowadays that seem to be economically independent, but actually they're dependency, okay, in a way that is not obvious. For instance, I give in the book the example of the daddy's boy, you know, the rich little kid, or the rich boy that has rich parents and is like living a luxury life, blah, blah, but he's not making money by himself. So he's living a good life, like he has money in his pocket to spend, but at the end of the day, he's not making the money. So he's dependent on the will of the parents or whoever's giving the money to him, for him or her to have that lifestyle. So obviously that's not economically independent. He feels economically independent, but he doesn't have it. I give an example of the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley. There's a character called Dickie Greenleaf. He's living in Italy with his girlfriend, living the luxury life, super relaxed, like blah, blah. But who is sending money? His parent from the United States. He's sending money to him. So is he living an economically independent? Did he taste freedom in the economical sense? Not really, because his parent can take the allowance any moment and he would be naked in the world again. So another example I give is the sugar daddies or the sugar babes. I saw this in Miami, I saw this in other countries, like basically girls or guys that are just basically looking for people that can pay for a lifestyle, giving some sexual endeavors or maybe company or attention to people that has the money but doesn't have social skills or whatever. They have low self-esteem. They're paying for this company, for a hot girl or whatever, and the hot girl is getting like money, yeah, right? But is that economic independence? Not really, because it's dependent on the will, on the whims of the sugar daddy. The sugar is cut off, he goes back to zero. He goes back to being naked again in the world. So that's not really economic independence. Economic independence when you get like a proper job. You make money on your own terms. You got the skill set. You are resourceful to get money in any way. Even if you are a drug dealer on the street, you will be economically independent because you are doing that on your own and you know how the in and outs of that profession. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm saying that even that will be some sort of economic independence compared to the daddy's boy or the sugar babe. Second, psychological independence. This is much more complex because it means that you're independent in your thinking, in your vision of the world, in your opinion. This is huge because at the end of the day, social conditioning, negative social conditioning is feeding you how you have to think, how you have to act all the time. That's what I call social conformity in the previous videos. So it's not so easy to think that you have your own ideas or to actually have them, because you might think that you have your own ideas, but at the end of the day, there are someone else's ideas. You're just taking everything from whatever you're reading, whatever you are listening to, whatever is your company, your friends, your family, whatever. So those ideas are not even yours. You are not thinking by yourself. So you're very easy to manipulate. You're very easy to just say, oh, these ideas are not good, think about this way. Or you're always finding the next trend, the next guru that's tell you how to think, how to act, but based mainly to how to think. So economical independence is when you get your own money, but psychological independence when you get your own ideas. How you get your own ideas? By studying, by doing the research, by having the experiences, you know, first person experiences, no third person experiences. When you took the trip, when you went to that place, when you did that course, when you went to the classes, when you went through the failures, then you have your own experience and you have a first person experience that is not going to be someone else's experience talking through you as if it was your own ideas. So I give an example in the book about the movie Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick. The character Bill, which is the main character, at some point he goes to this ritual where he see like this very fucked up stuff, like naked women, and then like a ritual sacrifice everywhere and wearing masks. And then he get discovered in the party, and a woman saved him. And then he finds out that the woman is dead. So he realized that it was a cult, and it was a dangerous cult with rich people wearing masks, having orgies and stuff. So he discovered that, you know. But after a week, no, sorry, after a few days, a friend of his, like a rich, super rich guy, called him to tell him like, listen, I saw that you were in the party and you got discovered, blah, blah. And you know what? It was all bullshit. It was just like a charade for you to get scared and not talk about what you saw. And he already understood that it was a sect, like a cult, and the model ended up dead. So he knows it's not a joke, it's not a charade. But his friend is trying to make him believe otherwise, you know? He's trying to make him believe something that he already went through and understood that it was another thing. So basically, his friend, his very good friend, someone he knows, he trusts, is trying to pull him out of his own self and make him believe some bullshit just to make him stifle and basically psychologically dependent on his ideas. So there in that particular scene, you can see how his mind is struggling to keep his independence, his psychological independence, his own ideas, his own point of view, his own experiences. Constant struggle with the other people point of view, own experiences. So when you are grounded in your own energy and your own experiences, you will have trust on what you saw, and you will not be able, people will not be able to just push you around with their own interpretation of facts. Like in this scene, when the guys say, no, what you saw is not what you think you saw. Basically, what you saw is just a charade. It was a fake. It's not real. The woman didn't die because of the cult. So don't think that. Think like I tell you how to think. So the character, obviously in the movie, he has psychological independence because he's a doctor, right? So he has scientific background, investigation, look at the facts, etc. So he's like, this is bullshit. He's lying to me. He realized it there only because he has psychological independence. Any other person with less internal equanimity would be like, oh yeah, you're right. Oh, thanks God, it was like that. So falling into the frame of the other person. So that's what I mean by psychological independence. A little bit harder to get than the economical independence, but you can get it by doing your own research, having your own experiences, be faithful to your point of view and your experiences. And third, emotional independence. This one is really, really hard to get. I haven't met so many people that have this, to be honest. I think I have it, but sometimes I lose it because the social conditioning and the negative social conditioning is so strong, is such a beast that it makes you tremble. But if you get the economical independence, and on top of that, like a building block, you have the psychological independence taken care of, then it's easier to get the emotional independence. What is emotional independence? Produce your own emotions, right? Don't let other people or the external world to dictate how you feel, all right? So this is extremely hard because let's imagine that you don't have the psychological independence or you don't have the emotional independence, the economical independence. So you will be always dependent how you feel if you get the money from someone else or if you get the interpretation of someone else. If someone tells you what to think, what this means, etc. For instance, imagine the case of the previous example. The guy tell, okay, what you saw in the party was not really what you think you thought. So basically, it's this other thing, and you'll be like, oh, now I feel more relief. It's like, oh, I thought it was this. So your emotions depends on what the other person is telling you, right? But at the end, you don't want to be like that. You want to produce your own energy. You want to produce your own emotions. You want to be in control of your emotions. You want to be grounded in your own emotions. You don't want to be like a boat on the ocean, like going from left to right, like the wind tells him to go, you know? So at the end of the day, you want to be grounded. You want to be like a tree in your own energy, in your own reality. And for that, you need to have first, don't depend on people to give you money. If you depend on that, you're always gonna be like a leaf on the wind, all right? Because if they give you the money, you feel bad. If they give you the money, you feel good. If they don't give you the money, you feel insecure. You are just like begging for them or whatever. So you are just dependent emotionally, not only economically. If your ideas are not unique, are not your own, you will depend on people and on how to interpret the world. You will get scared about any bullshit the media tell you or the people tell you. You will acquire fears from other people, so your emotions will be also there, like dependent on other people, on the external factors. So, but if you get economical independence first, and then you get psychological independence, you are like faithful to your own perspective, you do your own research, you don't expect for people to just give you everything like digested, and you just like, okay, you think that's, you say for instance, okay, this is the reality you think is happening right now. Okay, there's a virus out there. Okay, I'm gonna do my own research. I want to see with my own eyes. I'm gonna go there to see it. I'm gonna do my own research. I'm gonna watch videos. I'm gonna like whatever, read some books, etc. Create your own opinion, your own perspective, and then you say you were right. Okay, this is what is happening. I did my own research, but not believe everything blindly what other people tell you. Especially if you trust those people. Especially if there is authority, because if there's authority, they want you to believe what they want you to believe. So you have to be very resistant, and you have to be like, no, this is bullshit. I don't believe this. My experiences tell me this is bullshit. Exactly like in the previous example. And in emotional independence, obviously you will be more grounded in your energy if you already have the other two. So the 10 mental habits of the unique self that I explained in the previous video will give you grounding, will give you centeredness, to be grounded in your own energy, in your own mindset, instead of like dependent on social conformity, external validation. And you will be a person with more power, in the sense that you will be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, because you don't expecting for other people to validate your actions, your words, your being. Okay, so first, economical independence. Second, psychological independence. Third, emotional independence, when you are able to just be grounded in your energy. All right, that scene from the Eyes Wide Shut, when the guy is telling Bill, the protagonist, that everything he saw in the party was just a charade. It was just a simulation for him to get scared. Nobody died. It's everybody's cool people pretty much. And he's like, this is bullshit. I mean, this guy is lying to me straight up. But he doesn't have the emotional independence, because he's very conflicted inside his body. You know, he's like, he's feeling so traumatized, but he's saying he doesn't believe it, because he has psychological independence. But he feels shit, to be honest, because he's like, oh my God, it's my friend telling me this. He's telling me that I don't discover anything. Basically, everything was a charade. I'm stupid, pretty much. So he's conflicted emotionally, right? So that tells me that he doesn't have emotional independence. He has economical independence. He's a doctor. He has psychological independence, but he doesn't have the emotional independence. What would Tyler Durden says if some friend of him is telling me, oh, by the way, the party was a charade, everything you saw, it was fake, blah, blah. Tyler Durden would say, fuck that. You're full of bullshit, pretty much. Because I know what I saw. I know what I discovered. I saw the model in the morgue dying dead. I saw what she did in the party. Basically, I saw everything. I understood everything. So you cannot tell me that it was a charade. You are full of bullshit. That's emotional independence. Kind of like, you're not gonna dictate the way I feel about my beliefs. All right? This is basically how I feel. This is what I discovered. These are my ideas. I did the research. I did the investigation. I had experiences. So you're not gonna tell me how I feel. That's bullshit. You are lying. Obviously, in the scene of the movie, Bill doesn't say that. He's like traumatized by what he's saying. But Tyler Durden, who is the real person who has economical independence, psychological independence, and emotional independence, will say that's bullshit. I don't care what you're saying. You're lying. You are full of bullshit. You are part of them. That would be emotional independence. Being grounded in your energy, produce your energy, and don't let people dictate what you feel and how you feel it. All right, so those are the 3 independence of the free mind, of the unique self. I hope you enjoyed the videos. Go back to the whole series and watch everything, because there's a lot of content there. I mean, it's in a nutshell the whole content of my book. If you want to go deeper, you can just buy the book. You can also get the free chapter. I put you the links below, so you can just get the free chapter for free, or buy the book in Amazon and read the whole content with all the details, all the examples I give. This video series was just like a brush of the tip of the iceberg of the whole content, but I still give you a clear idea of what my idea of freedom is and how I interpreted this, mixing social psychology, existential philosophy, psychology of magic, my travels around the world for 20 years, etc., etc. So there's a lot to digest there. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep watching videos about mindset, psychology of magic, social confidence, and all the things that are related to self-development and self-improvement in a more like radical way. This is Alvaro Quevedo, philosopher, magician, world traveler with over 20 years of experience living the nomadic lifestyle. And see you in the next video.